If I really had to list my top 3 favorite Star Wars films out of the entire Skywalker saga, they would definitely have to be Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, and The Empire Strikes Back. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, as of right now, The Rise of Skywalker is just around the corner, with just 1 month until it's released by Disney and Lucasfilm and J.J. Abrams, that will actually end the Skywalker saga that started back in 1977 by George. Now, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm want to end the Skywalker saga properly, and everything that's going to change the events of the prequels and the originals in different ways than what we would have ever expected to see on the big screen. Now, on top of all of this, we do know that Episode 9 is going to be a very important film. However, what's really interesting, to me at least, has all to do with what actually George Lucas was going to do for Return of the Jedi, and everything related to Darth Vader's thoughts before death at the very end of Episode 6. Now, what's really intriguing about all of this is that it's explained that back in 1980, when George Lucas and Lawrence Kasdan started writing Return of the Jedi, they went through many revisions of the script that had to do with the death of Darth Vader and his final thoughts that would only be told in the script by George and Lawrence Kasdan. It's explained that in one of the drafts of the script for Episode 6, both George and Lawrence wrote in Vader's final thoughts before his death, where as he looked at his son's eyes, Darth Vader felt a terrible sense of regret of how much of his life that he wasted away and what it could have been like to have been there for Luke from the very start as a father. One of Vader's thoughts was said to involve him hanging on to hope that he would be able to live long enough to tell Luke that he was right and to make that point to his sister Leia. As Vader was dying, he was thinking about his wife Padme Amidala, who was unnamed at the time in the script of Return of the Jedi, and that he began to hear Obi-Wan Kenobi's Force Ghost voice telling Anakin/Vader that he was proud of what he did. Vader would tell Obi-Wan, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry for the pain that I caused to the galaxy." This is where Obi-Wan would guide Darth Vader/Anakin to becoming one with the Force and as a Force Ghost. However, before all of this, another thought that Vader had while Luke was actually taking off the mask was that Vader felt a sense of relief when Luke took the helmet off, finally seeing his son without the red lens, feeling at peace for the first time in decades. He looked at his son and even thought of himself as a young man when examining Luke's face, seeing himself within Luke. Vader could feel himself slipping away with each breath that he took, getting closer to death. Vader would be thinking about his son, Luke, and worrying if he would make it out alive, since Vader would sense that the second Death Star was upon destruction and that it was coming to its end. Just as Vader would take his last breath, he thought about how he has done something that should have been done long ago, to break his chains from the dark side and to become a Jedi once again. So let's go over a couple of parts about this and as to why I really find this to be quite heartwarming about everything related to Star Wars lore when it comes to thoughts of specific characters. And that's what I love so much about Star Wars, right? It's not just the films, the comics, the books, but it's also the lore that makes you understand the film in a different sense. The fact that in the movie, at the time, Vader actually was communicating with Obi-Wan Kenobi's Force Ghost, where he actually talked to Obi-Wan within his own mind, saying, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry for causing this much pain throughout the entire galaxy." Admitting basically that he did wrong. And that's what I like so much about Star Wars. It's, at the end of the day, a redemption story. Each and every Star Wars film, spin-off movie, and now live-action TV series with The Mandalorian, it's all about redemption. And we can already see, as a great example in The Mandalorian, that there is going to be a redemption story in, of course, either Episode 3 or Episode 4 as we get halfway through Season 1. So, Darth Vader's final thoughts before death. Let me just say one thing here, is that a lot of it has to do with his wife Padme Amidala, Luke Skywalker, his daughter Leia. It's a very heartwarming moment that makes the fans understand exactly what George Lucas and Lawrence Kasdan were aiming to do in order to make the scene very emotional. Now, obviously, the thoughts are not going to be heard in the actual movie, but they are a part of some of the drafts of the original script and some of the finalized version of the scripts as well as the novelization of Return of the Jedi. I think the one that really stands out to me the most here, that by far is the most impressive one by George and Lawrence Kasdan, is how right when Vader is starting to die, taking his, last few breaths, is that he actually sees himself within Luke Skywalker, his own son. He actually sees himself as a young man, looking at Luke when he takes the helmet off. And that, to me, I think is very poetic. I think it's a very beautiful moment between both father and son that George and Lawrence were trying to really capture in that moment. And there's something about that scene, you know, ever since I saw, you know, Return of the Jedi for the first time, years upon years ago, it was a very unique experience, just watching Luke taking off the mask of Vader, and you always wonder, what were they actually thinking? And that's what's great about the scripts and the novelizations and the original drafts, is that you do get an idea of exactly what Vader was going through and what he was thinking about when seeing Luke Skywalker without that helmet on, and actually just trying to hang on for as long as possible to just have a minute or two with his son for the very last time. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I am not the one from night to moon.